I'm Lady Charmaine, and welcome to the Lady Charmaine Live Show. And of course, I have another great interview for you today. My guest today is an actor whose career spans from 1971, from appearing in movies and television shows like Poltergeist, Chicago Story, Dynasty, Soul Food, even Bounce TV Network, Saints and Sinners, even to one of my favorites, ABC's Grey's Anatomy. And he is here today to talk about his new role in the BET's new court drama, In Contempt. Help me welcome to the Lady Charmaine Live Show, Mr. Richard Lawson. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Lady Charmaine. That's just a slight correction. I actually started in 1969.
Really?
So this is my sixth decade working in the business.
Wow, 1969.
Even though I'm only 39.
I know that's right. See, I've been trying to do my homework, so I was trying to do my years. 1969. So his career spans 49 years, almost 50 years, y'all. So it's been a minute. Well, you've been a pretty busy man lately. You have been appearing in shows that I like, of course, Bounce TV's Saints and Sinners. And now we get a chance to watch you in Contempt. And your career goes back, like I said, now 49 years. Do you still have to audition for roles, even though people know your career background?
Yes, of course I do. It just depends on the role. Listen, just because you're an actor doesn't mean that you can do everything.
Okay.
And so therefore, people want to see you and see where you are today, see where your energy is and your attitude and to bring those qualities and whether they will work specifically in this show and with this the chemistry of people. So, actors should audition. Not always, but when it's necessary.
Okay. Now, I read that you were also in the Vietnam War. And if that is true, how did you go from being a soldier to an actor?
Well, now that is interesting. I was a medic in Vietnam. I got there January 1st, 1968, during the Tet Offensive. I landed right on the new year, 1201. And I was there for 11 months. And I was a combat medic. And so what was so interesting about being a medic was the fact that, that everyone who had, I was the only person that dealt in personal touch. Mm-hmm. So it was, let me see that hand. Let me take a look at the thing. And so therefore it involved touch. And touch opened the door to all kind of psychological, personal things, because it'd be like, hey, Doc, can I talk to you about something? So my experience working as a medic was so personal and so interesting in terms of the problems that people brought you and the things that they talked about, that I dealt with the human emotion and the human psyche. So when I got out of the service, I got out 3 months early, because if you went to college, or school, you can get out 3 months early. So I got out 3 months early, and I was going to be a lawyer, and I went to the speech department to join the debate team until I could actually get to a school that focused on law. And while I was there, I was asked, because of my voice, I was asked to do Reader's Theater. And then Reader's Theater transitioned into forensic speech, where I was competitional, and I was undefeated and became the state champion. And then that naturally transitioned into using that speech in a different way in terms of characters and stuff. And so I was asked to do this musical called Golden Boy. And then that was the start of everything, because at that point I realized that's why I was put on this earth, is that this was my purpose.
Yeah, you knew that's what your calling was. And when I was going back over your history, do you know your history brought back so many memories for me? Because before there was a Walking Dead, there was some vampires, and there was a movie called Scream, Blackula Scream. I remember watching that. My mother used to have us as kids. Wait, let me tell you, you was one of the most handsome vampires. If people have never heard of it, go check out Scream, Blackula Scream. And I was able to pull up some old photos as well, Richard. And it brought back so many memories. And so do you ever share any of these, like any of your old films, like with your grandchildren and children, especially like this one, Scream, Blackula Scream?
Well, you know what? I don't have to share anything, because I on social media, I'm always hearing, what's up, Dick Willis? But that's my character's name, Big Willis.
Right.
And so it's constantly showing, and vampires. The whole concept and subject of vampires is something that is so popular that it's a genre that will never go away. And so it's always out there, and so I'm always tweeting pictures from. I have some great pictures from that film, and so Throwback Thursdays. I'm always sticking it out there. I was recalled, in shooting the movie. Bob Keljan was the director, and the first time that I was the first girl that I got to like fight from with my vampire teeth and stuff. We were shooting the scene, and halfway through he stopped and he said, Richard, you can't suck the girl's neck like that. This is not like a porno. This is a vampire movie. I said, but Bob, it has like these sexual references. He says, no. So it was funny.
Wait, and then I want to bring back another flashback for those of you, because we're also streaming live on Facebook, because you played a wide range of characters, from a gay man in Dirty Harry. You played a vampire, even the love interest of Diane Carroll in Dynasty, and supernatural films and shows like V and Poltergeist, which is a flashback. Who don't remember Carol Ann? And that movie today still keeps a lot of people out. It's funny when you go back over your history, it's like you played in some real classic roles. We always remember the very handsome love interest of Diane Carroll, because she was so beautiful on TV. And then that man she was dating, which was you, on TV, was like, as we call, romance goals. So when you look back over movies like Poltergeist, that's still a classic today, what do you think about when they do new supernatural films, but you started in like one of the first originals to me?
Well, listen, I have been blessed to have worked with some of the greatest people behind the screen, behind the camera, and in front of the camera. And I've been blessed to work in stuff that I like, because I only work in stuff that I like. And some of the people like Diane Carroll, where we married and went off into the sunset, and then Jack Kay on her show. I just saw Lynn Moody. She came to my theater to look at Debbie Morgan's. Debbie Morgan just had a solo show. I was a love interest for Debbie Morgan, and I was a Lynn Moody played my wife like 4 different times, and the next person up in our theater, which is called Waco Theater Center, and anybody interested can go to wacotheatercenter.com and check it out. But Vanessa Bell Calloway is up next, and she's been my wife about 4 times.
Yep.
So I have been so blessed to have worked with some great actresses, and then the love interest of a lot of incredible women over the years. I just, like I said, I'm living my purpose. I'm still on vacation. I started March 7th, 1969, and I have been on vacation this entire 50 years. And, somebody said something about vacation. It's like, what? I'm on vacation.
I know, that's right.
I don't need no vacation.
I know, and speaking, that was a great segue, Richard, because now we could go into Saints and Sinners, because Vanessa Calloway played your wife in Saints and Sinners, where you were a pastor and she was the first lady. And I wish you were on there just a little bit longer. I pray they didn't kill, they killed your character off, but it's such a great show. And we have cast members that come on the show from promoting the new season of Saints and Sinners. And now you're in a brand new series called In Contempt on BET. Tell us about your role and the character that you play.
Right. The Earl Sullivan is a former judge, former corporate lawyer, attorney. My daughter, Gwen Sullivan, who is the lead in the show, played by Erica Ash, the incredible Erica Ash. She is she's a public defender, so she's working in the church, and she's like in the middle of a war with very few weapons and only a few bullets to fight, an army that is well equipped and that is set up to beat you up. She defends the undefendable. Undefendable only in the sense of the fact that they don't have enough money to defend themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have enough to get themselves on bail, and they certainly can't afford to get, investigators and get the DNA experts and all like that. They can only make a deal for crimes that they didn't necessarily commit, but by the fact that they've been accused, that in order to defend themselves, they have to go through a system that's set up to just squash them. And she's their defender. And I'm trying to get her to see that she cannot have a substantive life, living and working in the trenches, because it's a no-win situation. And so the frustration that it creates in her life is, I want to see her do better, to find a man, to settle down and quit choosing these unavailable men, and to make more money.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm a father.
He's spoken like a father, yeah. Just like a true father.
Even though he's got his own, he's got his flaws.
Mm-hmm.
His family is dysfunctional. His son is in jail for committing a crime, and it's a dysfunctional family, but it's all handled through a sense of love and concern and stuff like that. But it doesn't always turn out well.
And, it's funny how they say the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, because you have, as my oldest daughter call her, the ageless daughter, Miss Bianca Lawson, who is also, she's your daughter, and she's also in Queen Sugar. She plays Darla. Now, did you kind of rub off on your daughter, or was it just something that she always wanted to do?
She's always wanted to do that. Even as a child, when she was in my arms, I would go to a screening or something, or looking at television, and she would be asleep in my arms, and my voice would come on, and she would wake up to look. I think the first time she mentioned to me that she wanted to be an actress, she was 6 years old. And I said, yes, okay, that's nice. And so I was sort of letting her have her desire, but knowing that, it can't be a developed thing yet. It's just, something that she sees as like great, that I'll just give it time. And for 3 years, I just kept, saying, yes, absolutely, baby. Until she was 9 years old, she sat down to me, and she looked, and she put her both hands to my face, square in the face, and she says, now, Dad, I'm serious. I want to be an actress. I said, okay. And we sat down and we talked about it. I said, okay, listen, you have to listen to me. We have to have a conversation about this. And so I talked about the rules of communication. And then we started to communicate about being a professional, and about, just because she is a young child and she wanted to act, and on the set, it didn't make a difference. She had to be a professional. She had to know what a professional was. And we talked about that. And, she set out, and she agreed, and she lived up to it. She is complete professional. Her work ethic is unparalleled. She's dedicated, serious actress, and, and I cannot take credit for her skill set. She, it's difficult for us to actually, for me to help her, because parent, father, daughter, I think I'm the most open parent in the world, but evidently it's challenging, for a child to really, whatever with their parent. So I just sit back, and whenever she has a question or she wants to talk something professional or concepts or whatever, sometimes she will come to me, and I'll be quite open. But I can honestly say that the work that she's doing on Queen Sugar, she is my favorite actor in the world. She's amazing. The things she says without saying it. Film is about what you don't say. It's about what you're thinking. It's about the subtext. You know what I mean? And her inner life is so powerful, it's so palpable, that she doesn't have to say anything, and I know exactly what she feels. So words could never fill in what her her own inner life is speaking in and of itself. So I'm a fan.
And I think you summed her up very well because she exudes so much emotion without even speaking a word. Her eyes speak. She uses her entire
Hmm.
body to get across a message, and you know
Yes, he
exactly
does.
what she's feeling. And I have two more questions for you because I love the fact that you said that you are on vacation, that you've been in this business now almost 50 years, and you just having yourself a
Yes,
good time. And I want to say with that, congratulations on celebrating your 3-year wedding anniversary. So basically, you're still on a beautiful honeymoon. So congratulations.
absolutely.
So congratulations for that, and
Thank
you.
you.
You're welcome. You added some more kids. And Richard, like I said, I was reading your bio. I was reading a lot about you, and you've been in the music industry a long time. Previously married to a Gordy, and now
Yes.
and I know you've gained a lot of music, just information about music and just experiences. And now God has blessed you to be in a family that we call, musical dynasty as well. You have what, 5 daughters, I believe you said, and you have a son. You got like 3 kingly son-in-laws, and we know your daughter-in-laws are or Beyonce and Solange, and then you got Jay-Z. Do they ever ask you for advice when it comes to the music business? Do they ever kind of like pick your brain since you've been around it for so long?
Well, not so much about the music business as it is about, we talk about concepts and, sometimes I will support Beyonce artistically, in terms of content or, I mean, and let me not get it twisted at all. She has her own mind, and no one has creative thought that she's thinking things that are like light years ahead of everybody else, and it takes a minute for everybody else to catch up. But because I've been in the business so long, I think she does respect my opinion, my viewpoint, because I'm an artist, and
Mm-hmm.
so I know how to create and how to honor the creative process and understand that that there is no perfection in creation. There's just ideas and imagination that keeps unfolding, and it's about how to allow that space to occur. We have a theater called Waco Theater Center where art can occur. Now that concept came about because I understood, and through my own mentors, I understood the creative process that you allow things to take shape, but you never kill your first thought. Your first thought is
Mm.
your genius, and you follow that first thought through. And the first thought is always ugly. It is never, it's like when babies are born, babies are not pretty. People say they are, but they look like little dried raisins, little gorillas, you know. And so you have to let a baby evolve into whatever it is going to be,
Mm-hmm.
not what you want it to be, but whatever it is going to be, and you have to honor that process.
Right.
So art is the same way. We have to honor the process of creation and let it evolve into something. But that original thought is your genius. Never give that up. And
Mm.
so, with her, we kick it around artistically all the time. And and Jay, looks at me as like, because I'm always inventing stuff. I'm an inventor.
Uh-huh.
I have a patent on something that I invented. So I see something and I see how we can make that wheel roll a little bit better. So we have a really healthy respect for art in general. Music, what can I tell them? I've been around music and have had an interest in it since I was a very young man, and so I had my own. I've managed my own group, and then being around the Gordy family coming up because
Mm-hmm.
Bianca's mom is Denise Gordy, and that's Barry's niece, Barry's brother's child,
Mm-hmm.
and so I grew up, and so Smokey Robinson was my friend. G.C. Cameron, who sang "It's a Shame" with the Sinners, my
Mm.
friend. Marvin was my friend. So all these people, I just saw Smokey was at my theater the night before last, and we have a love affair from going back because I've always respected him. He's always respected me. So it's Larry Graham, going back to the Sly and the Family Stone, was my best friend in high school. And, and he's like, all the bass players today are standing on his shoulder.
Wow.
So I've been around music most of my life, and 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 I'm a musician in my soul, even though it never came out and found its way into an accomplished instrument. But I do it through art, and I do it through, I put it on the stage. That's where my musical aptitude winds up finding a life, is in the theater and on film.
I noticed you were talking about all of your friends, and your friends have been around a very long time. So I can tell that you know how to be a friend and keep them as a friend. And speaking of friendships, you had a 38-year friendship with Miss Tina Lawson. How did a friendship turn into a romance?
Well, it's so funny because right from the very beginning, Tina and I had she was my sister's best friend. Mm-hmm. And so, I was able to observe her just being a person and a friend and a mother, and because she was pregnant with Beyonce, and so through those years, developing years, and then later with Solange, and then with all the people that she was the maternal person in their lives, that we sort of, I like this word, contiguous, that we were like two tracks. Each track is an independent thing in and of itself, but together they support a train, and they operate separately, but they operate basically doing the same function, even though it's two separate things. We're like that because we have come together, and because of what we've known about each other and the respect that we had for each other going all the way back all those years, where she was kind and generous and supportive and loving and family to the death. And she's the blackest person I know. She's, she loves black people more than in black culture and black art. More than anybody I know, almost to a fault, because every injustice she stands up and she gets passionate about. And it's like, you can't get passionate. You can't get that caught up about everything. You got to find that thing that you want to battle for and battle for that, but you can't fight every fight.
Right.
But so it's that mutual, contiguous respect that we've had for each other that put us in the same place and allows us to appreciate the things that we are compatible on. We're both artists. We both are designers in a sense. She's a genius at what she does, and I don't say that I'm a genius at what I do, but I do a pretty good job at what I do because I love what I'm doing.
Right.
So at the end of the day, it is a love for what I do that carries me through, not the results and not to whether it turns out to make a lot of money or successful. It was like, did it wind up being what I wanted it to be in the beginning? And most things do, so therefore there's a tremendous sense of satisfaction. So our friendships, we have mutual, we love to dance, we love the same kind of foods, we have the same kind of sensibilities. Her family grew up 10 miles from my family. We have the same last name, so we may be distant cousins. So there's a lot of connective tissue, you know what I mean?
Wow.
It's a good thing that we're past the age of creating kids.
Right.
Otherwise, we might have some problems.
Well, Richard, I want to say thank you so much for coming on this show. It was a pleasure having you on the show. And I want to remind the audience to make sure that you tune into BET's In Contempt on Tuesday nights, 10/9 Central, right there on BET. And again, this was Mr. Richard Lawson. Thank you so much, Richard. And I look forward to having you back on the show.
Thank you for having me.
You are so welcome. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye. Well, that was none other than Mr. Richard Lawson. He was such a great interview. And do not forget to check out BET's In Contempt, which is going to be airing on Tuesdays, 10/9 Central. Make sure you go ahead and you check that out. And the Lady Charmaine Live Show is sponsored by Up and Away Travel Services. Book your travel services today by just going to upandawaytravelservices.com, or you can call Miss Sherry Brockman at 916-826-6606. And if you would like to start your own travel business, you make sure you call Sherry Brockman at 916-826-6606, and she'll let you know exactly how easy it is to start your very own business today. And again, thank you so much for tuning into the Lady Charmaine Live Show, and I see you next time. Bye-bye.